So again, good morning. We're going to try this again since it went wacky last time. Get this started. So if you're new to me, I'm Marshall Burtcher, and I help codependents rediscover their happiness after codependency, love addiction, and trauma. Help them build healthy relationships in their life, both with themselves and with others. Help them come to know who they are and live from that so that they have more natural wellness and happiness in their life. So before we get started with today's topic, I need to share this out to the community. So we gotta share it out. The community is your safe haven on the internet where you can find guidance, understanding, tools, support in your journey beyond codependency. You can find out that you're not alone in this, that you're not crazy, and that what you've been going through is actually real and that there is a way out. You can find the link above on Facebook, below on YouTube, and if you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Okay, let's try this again. So I'm going to share this out because this is where things went loopy last time. Let me know in the comments below if you're here. Okay, there we go. Now it works. Yay! Okay. So good evening, guys, or rather good morning. But depending on where you're at, it could be a good evening. Here in Boise, it is a nice, beautiful fall day. So today's topic is the one cause as to why you choose toxic people over healthy people. We were talking about this last night. Last night I had class in the happiness strategy, or what's also called the Discover You program. And this came up. It's like I always choose the toxic person because it feels safer. It feels familiar. It feels normal to me. And that's the one reason, guys. We choose that person because it's familiar to us. And behind this is another reason, right? It's these layered reasons here. So when we grow, when we're a child, when we're an infant, we experience an imprint of what's called attachment style to a parent or both our parents. What this attachment style says, it basically says when you feel this or when this happens, feel this. And the brain works on this premise of when this happens, feel, do, choose, and act this way. It's called a reference point. And one of those reference points is called an attachment style. An attachment means it's how do we emotionally bond with another human being? How do we feel emotionally safe with them, close with them, connected with them? What is that experience like? Now, if that experience is unreliable, chaotic, intermittent, dangerous, then we're going to develop a sense of anxiety with that person or with attachment in general. We're going to develop a sense of trying to control things or feeling unsafe, feeling powerless or helpless in these situations. And this is where things get a little squirrely for us. So if we're an infant or we're a toddler or a child learning this through our experience with our parent, we're also confusing that with love. And because it's the only reference point we have, it's the only experience we have, it's what becomes normal to us. And this normalcy is what we seek out in potential partners and potential friends in the real world. And the reason why is because the brain only knows what it's experienced, and so it chooses what it knows because that's what's safest in its concept of safe. It's what's safest for it to choose because the unknown is often more threatening to it than the known. It knows what to do with these kinds of people when they do the thing, but it doesn't understand what to do with a healthy person. It doesn't understand what they mean and what they do, or what they mean by what they do and what they ask for and what they say, because they have no experience with it. They have no reference point to it. And so it's foreign to them. It's like a foreign language. It's like, I don't know what's going on here. I don't trust it. I don't understand it. This is why we choose toxic people, because that's our normal. That's what we know. We know how to deal with it. That's the primary reason we feel like they're familiar, rather. They're comfortable. they're safe. Now here's the trick with safety. Safety has everything to do with your circumstance. It actually has to do with whether or not you're actually safe relationally, emotionally, mentally, and physically. So if you're in a relationship with a toxic person, you're technically not safe, you're in danger. It's just that that's normal to you, so it feels comfortable, which feels safe, but doesn't actually translate to actual safety. And this is the cause as to why we choose toxic people over healthy people. It's why we're attracted to them, is because they're familiar to us. That's why one of the big red flags that I call out in my clients and students is they feel really familiar. It's like I've known them all along, or known them all my life. These are red flags for codependents or anybody who is a survivor of toxic or negligent childhoods. Because you're choosing someone that feels like your parents. You're not choosing someone who is a good fit for you. But we don't really connect with that because this stuff is somatic. It's what's called pre-verbal. It's something we feel, but it's not necessarily something we have a memory to attach to. It's not something we have language for. So sometimes it feels really spiritual, really deep, really powerful, because it is deep and powerful. It's your attachment system being activated. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's healthy, right? So in my approach to relationships, it's all about quantifying who this person is based on the pattern of behaviors they demonstrate. Because this is where you start to learn what real love is, how real love functions, the how of it, what it does, and allowing yourself to feel into it. Because real love isn't this euphoric display of fireworks and chaos and adrenaline. It's actually quite calm. It's quite stable. It's quite predictable. It can feel a little boring, but it's extremely nurturing and safe and expansive and passionate in its way. And it's a place where you can grow and be you. Whereas in the chaotic, turbulent, toxic experience of love, you can't be you because you're put into what's called a fear-love state or love-fear state, where you love them but you fear them, and that puts your brain into a conflict, right? It's got to survive this person. The way it does it is by freezing and fawning to them, and that puts you into a codependent dynamic. Hi, Jasmine. Yeah, you're very welcome. Thank you for the feedback. So this is what's going on in the background. This is why we're choosing toxic people, not healthy ones. Toxic or familiar, we know what to do with them. Healthy is unknown. It's different. We got shame, right? We have this internalized sense of shame, so I'm not worthy of being loved that way. It doesn't feel as good as this over here. It's not as intense. It's not as enveloping, right? It doesn't give me the big high. Well, that's love addiction talking over there. Because real love is going to nurture you. It's going to be safe. So guys, this is what's going on in the background. You're not crazy. There's not something wrong with you. What's really going on is your attachment system has been conditioned by its experience. And because it's been conditioned by its experience, that's all it knows. And so when it encounters someone that feels really familiar or acts and puts out the same kind of energy and words and essence that your parents did, it's going to get activated and you're going to feel attracted that way. Your job to go beyond codependency is to note that. Is to put that on the wall and go, okay, I know I'm going towards something that is familiar to me. I need to stop. Because what's familiar to me is abusive, toxic people. I need to stop and go towards something that's more unfamiliar, more uncomfortable, and start qualifying them and seeing who they are. This is the reparenting of our internal toddler, infant, or attachment system. It's reparenting them to choose healthy things. Healthy things don't always taste great. They don't always feel as euphoric as the toxic thing. It's kind of that rub in life. It's kind of the paradox. Healthy things tend to be uncomfortable for us. Well, that's a good signal we're going in the right direction. is if it's challenging us to be more of ourselves and allowing us to be more of ourselves. If it's inviting us to share more of us in the relationship, we're going in a positive direction. If the relationship's motivating you to withdraw into yourself and move into a codependent function like people pleasing, avoidance, fixing, controlling, enabling, those kind of things, then you need to look at the relationship and see if it's actually healthy or not. The easiest way to determine that is if you're being abused. Are you being gaslit? Are your emotions being denied? Are you being blamed for their choices and their actions? Are you being made to question your sanity and reality? If you answer yes to these things, you're dealing with someone who is exploiting and manipulating you, and it's time to get out. It's not time to fix the relationship. It's not time to have a conversation. It isn't time to go to therapy. It's time to get out, because that person has huge work to do in their world. They're likely not going to do it because they feel entitled in their victimhood to behave the way they do. Your job is to go on and choose someone else that's healthier for you and move on. What they do is their territory, their business. The saying is, choose people based on the probability of how they're going to treat you, not on the possibility of their change. In other words, fall in love with who they are, not what you think they can be. That's the trick here, guys. Because outside of that, we get into the fantasy of potential. We're going to get lost in this activation. I've been talking about this attachment we have to our parents. Part of it's based on the child or the infant toddler fantasy that our parents are perfect, and that if I be perfect, they will change their behavior, they will love me, they will accept me, and then I can be myself. And that hasn't happened. And because it hasn't happened, it's irrational to assume that it will happen. What's rational is to go on probability and say, well, based on their pattern of behavior in the past, here's what I can predict will happen. That is where you come from. That's what empowers you in your world, to have healthy relationships and to choose people who will love and care for you and you for them in a mutual way that's fulfilling for you. So there you go, guys. That's today's little blurb. Let me know how you're doing out there. Let me know your thoughts on today's training. Just comment below on Facebook. If you're on YouTube, leave a comment for me there too. Guys, I read them. I don't always respond to them, but I do read them, and I try to like all of them. I try to acknowledge all of them. But sometimes I'm not all that great with it just because life swamps me a bit. But I appreciate you. Remember that you're worth knowing, loving, and keep yourself safe out there, and I will see you guys in our next video. Have a great day. Bye-bye.